Big breaking news in Formula One. Earlier this afternoon, the grid will have an extra team from 2026. Cadillac team will join F1 after the General Motors-backed entry was approved by F1 and the FIA. Now, Craig Slater has been across this story for us and joins us now live. Good to see you, Craig, as always. Look, what's changed for this to get passed through then?
I think that the bid itself has been revised. That's the first thing to say. It was a little bit of a surprise in November at the Las Vegas Grand Prix when we first got wind that F1 had decided that after some reflection and after General Motors in particular had come back to them to say that they weren't just going to badge this new team, but they were actually going to develop a power this new unit. So in effect, it would be backed by one of the giants of the American automotive industry. Then that had to be considered in a completely different way to what had been the original bid by Andretti Motorsports. The other fact, and was Michael Andretti stepped down from his role as chief executive of this proposed new team, so he's not around anymore. Greg Maffei, who had been the overall boss of the parent company of F1, and he had a little bit of friction. He has also moved on to pastures new, so it was a clearer space, but that's part of it. The really significant thing is that General Motors are coming in here to be a works team, to build their own engine. By the end of this decade, that's what they're pledged. They're taking Ferrari engines in the interim. And F1 also feels that the Cadillac brand is globally known, so this will add value to Formula One. And the money question is central to all of this because the commercial rights holder had to give them the approval. The teams had been against it because they thought it would dilute the revenues they were receiving because they would be split 11 ways instead of 10. We haven't had anything public on, but we understand that Cadillac will be paying a $450 million anti-dilution fee to be split 10 ways. So the teams will effectively get $45 million each, or around about $9 to $10 million per year for 10 years. And that's kind of the equivalent of them finishing a place lower potentially in the standings and getting that reduced prize money. But it's a good day for Formula One, for fans, because they get more cars on track, potentially more drivers involved. The FIA president Mohammed bin Sulayem had been a supporter of an 11th team throughout, so he'll be pleased about this. And F1 pleased too, because they've got what they wanted, a meaningful 11th entry, not one which they felt would be there just to increase the size of the grid. This is a new entry which could be one of the big players in years to come.
Yeah, so you mentioned then, obviously, more drivers involved. So who will drive for them then?
Well, we can have a lot of fun over the coming months thinking about that. Mario Andretti will still be involved in this operation as an advisor, as a kind of non-executive advisor to the team. I spoke to him at the F1 launch event last month, and he said, yes, the aim is to have an American driver and an experienced driver alongside them. So Colton Herta has been a name that's been spoken about. Andretti has admitted, in terms of being the American driver for Cadillac, he is a good bet right now. Cadillac, he's 24 years of age. He has won multiple races in IndyCar. He hasn't yet got the super license points to immediately jump into that seat, but he's in a good position potentially to be the American driver. And then they're looking at an experienced figure. Sergio Perez might make sense. The Mexican, so it makes an American driver to go alongside Colton Herta. Build on the fan base over there already. People want to see him back in Formula One. He wants to get back too. Valtteri Bottas might be another option, although when I spoke to him in the last week, he said he hasn't had any talks with Andretti yet. They can take their time up to Andretti, and it is going to be a finding their feet type of entry, you would imagine, over the first couple of years for this new Cadillac team. They have the gearbox and other parts and the power gearbox unit side by Ferrari. So if that's a good package, that will help them bend. But yeah, let's see. They've already got 300 people working in bases in Kannapolis near Indianapolis, and at Silverstone, where they bought a unit as well. I've just been texting Graham Loudon, who is their team principal, who's a great individual within racing, with a Formula One past. He worked with the Manor Marussia team for many years, and unfortunately saw that team go out of business. Haas bought a lot of their parts, but he is going to be team principal. I've agreed to meet up with him in Australia at the first race of the season. But exciting for all of those involved in this new enterprise Cadillac, many of whom maybe thought they were taking a little bit of a risk by signing on, because they've had that factory in operation for a year now. But yes, they will be on the grid for the first race of the season in 2026, and that is not far away.
No, it's not at all. Brilliant, and good to know that you're going to be interviewing them very shortly. Thanks ever so much, Craig.